Hey, I'm back to army building. This time I'm army building the Vipers, the retro Vipers, and I'm glad I did. I've got so many Vipers. Let's look at all of this. The Vipers are the basic Cobra Troopers. Well, for me, I call them, they're supposed to be infantrymen. They're a bit more, for me, they're either Rangers or basic Marine. That's how I see them. They're the ones with the backpacks. So as Rangers or Marine, well, no, the Rangers, we have the Range Viper for that. But as Marine, they're the ones who land on the shore, the tactical force of the Cobra forces, a bit better trained than regular Cobra troopers, and with better equipment and better gear, better protection. But these are your guys that are gonna land on a beach and just attack G.I. Joe or take over a small country. So let's look at the Vipers, the retro Vipers, and how I'm army building them. This is Hervé from Comic Book Bin, doing since 2002. Like and subscribe. Alright, the Vipers. So here's a first glance at my collection of Vipers. I've got 10 retro Vipers and a lot more of the other type of Vipers here. As you can see, I've got a lot of Vipers. Vipers. I've got regular Vipers, Viper officers. I've got the original Cobra Island Viper, just one of them. I've got Python Patrol Vipers, and I've got Crimson Vipers in the back. You may not be able to see them, but here they are hidden, those with the blue scarf in there. But anyway, I'll go into more details soon enough. So obviously this review is for the retro Viper, but I like army building, so I'm going to compare them a bit with the rest of my Vipers. Alright, a couple of Vipers. Let's look at the army in more detail. Bunch of Vipers. Different squads. I would say the retro Vipers are good for the southern hemisphere, right? Summertime. That's what they're good for. So they don't have full sleeves. So they can also breathe a bit more. But everything else is the same with them. If you compare a Viper, a retro Viper, with the classic and original Cobra Viper, you can see the difference between the two of them. So they each have 2 grenades. It's the same helmet, by the way. They both have the same helmets and the same eyeglasses. There's no handkerchief in the new Viper, and they don't need them. Body armor, not the same, similar. The colors are a bit brighter on the retro Viper. They were still bright on the original Cobra Island Viper when you compare him with the other Vipers here. Those are from the 3-pack that was released a few years after that, where we had one Viper officer. Those are the guys in gray. This guy and these guys. Now with these guys, one of them was black, the other one was white. But you had to remove the forearm guards in order to detect what color that Viper was. Or you could remove the handkerchief from the neck in order to discover their color. This one, as you can see, is black. Now, I don't know about another Viper. Technically, this was supposed to be one black and one white. Yes. So we had one black Viper and one white here, which really helped with army building. If you remove the forearms, they were supposed to match, but a lot of people had problems with them, and so they were mix and match. And at one point, I believe Amazon was selling problematic Vipers which had different necks from the forearms. The forearms were painted on, so they weren't the original plastic, which the original plastic was black. But if you had the problem with the paint on, you could have fixed it yourself if you had several Vipers and mix and match them, or just put the cover, the forearm and the handkerchief on the neck, and voila, no more problem. Now, I never check my Vipers. I should probably do that one day. I'm pretty sure I will discover something weird with them. But with the new Retro Viper, Hasbro gets out of the problem. Everybody's white here, so there's no more problem of what is the skin tone. Is the neck skin tone matches the forearm skin tone. Like I said, it's the same head. They don't have a handkerchief anymore, and that's good. They never needed it. I don't know why they were given one. It's the same scheme with the original Cobra Island Viper and the Retro Viper. The boots are padded, not with the Retro Viper. I don't know why. I like the padded boots. Obviously, like I said, the Cobra Island Viper and the other Vipers here can work and operate in a colder climate or when it rains. These Vipers, southern hemisphere only, and no typhoons, please. Okay, now let's play with some Vipers. They come with one weapon, the backpack, which is different from the other Vipers. If you look at some of the original Vipers backpack, well, this is an officer backpack, but it's the exact same. I think this backpack has been reused from someone else, but this is the Cobra Viper backpack, which was used across the different versions of Vipers that were released in the past, including the Crimson Vipers, the Patron Patrol Vipers, the regular Vipers, and obviously the Viper Officer. So it's a different backpack. It might have been reused from a G.I. Joe soldier. I don't know. Not an expert anymore. I used to know all this stuff, but there's so many of them right now that I'm not keeping track of what belongs to whom. These Vipers, the retro ones, are fun in the sense that they came with different hands. Now, if I only had one hand, they would use the basic default hands. But as you can see, this one has a fist. And with my Retro Viper, each of them has a different hand, I believe. I've played around with that. Make sure, well, let me move the original Viper. I made sure that they had different type of hands. Some are lefty, some are righties, and so on. But some have fist. Some can point, like this guy here, he can point. They're all gonna fall again, as usual. This one can point. And because their gloves are red, you can't reuse the same extra hands with the other Vipers that you might have in the past. All of them have black gloves, I believe. So none of them could be reusing those new hands, unfortunately. Would have been fun to be able to do that. They can carry, they have trigger hands and so on, they have open palms. It's up to you to play with your Vipers on that point. And yeah, I like the Vipers, like I said, I really like them. Them and the Cobra Soldier, they're my favorite troopers. I think they look very tactical. And obviously, when you army build, when you have a lot of them, they look good together. That's the whole point of army building. You have a lot of those guys and they look good. As you can see, these are all my Vipers, my older Vipers. You can feel that the buck feels a bit cheaper now. See, they feel loose. Some of them feel like their legs are crooked already. So the new Vipers will help with that. It's a drop down. The drop down makes the figures a bit, what's the word? more fragile. And as you can see, I've already damaged my platoon. All those Vipers falling all over themselves. But that's the joy of army building the same guy over and over again. You don't want him to fall. With these new Vipers, I found that the eyeglass here, they stand better on the helmet. I don't know if they changed anything, but they look a bit better. They don't fall off as easily. This Viper in particular cannot hold his eyeglasses on easily, so I put it at the base of his neck. If I'm not mistaken, I don't recall exactly because it's been a few years, the Python Patrol Vipers did not come with handkerchief in the neck, fortunately. And as usual, my Vipers are falling all over themselves. With some of them, the old Vipers, I removed the backpack. It did help the situation a bit. I believe some of them came with 2 weapons, since this guy has another type of weapon. It's been a while. I mean, I've been keeping them often stored away. I only opened the boxes recently last month on all the Vipers, so I know they were released quite a while ago. The one thing that would make the Vipers look even better would be if the Cobra Stun vehicle was to show up. Then I could put a couple of those Vipers in. I've noticed that the new Ghost Viper, we use the same buck here, but I'm not gonna buy any of the Ghost Vipers. In hindsight, I'm asking myself why I bought all of those Python Patrol Vipers. I didn't need them, but I can use them as stand-in as the Ghost Vipers, or even the Viper officers can serve that function. It doesn't matter. Well, this is my Viper collection. These are the retro Vipers. This is Hervé from Comic Book Bin. Look at all those Vipers, figurines since 2002. Like and subscribe.